Hey there, YouTube. This is SJM4306. Wow, I cannot speak today. Anywho, I just wanted to put up another quick video, and this is another MP3 player that I picked up for pretty cheap. This is the Sony the Sony NW-HD1. This is Sony's offering to try to compete with the iPod when that started getting popular, and this is a 1.8-inch hard disk player. So 20 gigabytes capacity on this guy. Has the standard, well, the similar looking to the mini discs, the 4 connector headphone remote outlet thing. And I'm not sure if this is specifically compatible with the mini disc LCD remotes or not, or if this has its own protocol that it uses. But it definitely does work. I have a non-LCD remote with the regular buttons, and it definitely works with that. So I'll take you on a tour of this. This guy's pretty old. I don't know. The sticker was removed that probably had the date code and whatnot. Anyway, yeah, I got this off eBay. There's a dock connector here. Unfortunately, not standard USB. You need a special dock for it to actually synchronize and charge. Luckily, the dock itself just uses mini USB and then a 6-volt center pin adapter. This came with the adapter, but the cord was really mangled and looked like a dog chewed on it. So luckily it works with the PSP adapter. So even though it says 6 volts and the PSP adapter is 5 volts, it works just fine, charges perfectly. Yeah, interesting thing in the design, there's a little plastic piece here that actually clicks in and holds the dock in until you click the release button here, and then it pops out. There's a charge indicator that lights up red when it's charging, goes out when it's done. Pretty standard stuff. So, interestingly enough, there's a built-in battery switch. So what you can do is, really hard to do, you need some fingernails. You can switch this off and you can click the buttons and it won't turn on. So if you're going to store this for a while, you can just switch that off to prevent the battery from self-discharging nearly as much. You can switch that back on, and then there's the hold switch on here as well. Other than that, yeah, on the top, as I said, headphone jack, remote adapter. This also does line out. Menu mode. So menu will allow you to make changes to the settings on the player. Mode will take you to the your playlist, your music selection, all that stuff, and volume up and down. You have this neat 5-way button here, rewind, fast forward, or track previous, track skip, up, down in your menus, as well as play pause, or play stop, rather. Some of the design choices on this are interesting. So it's a magnesium shell, so it feels absolutely solid. It's tiny too compared to an iPod. At the time, the black and white iPods, this is actually smaller. So let's fire it up. One of the beautiful things, I'll turn off the light here, beautiful, it's shown up as blue, but it's definitely green when I'm seeing it here. It's an electroluminescent backlit LCD, and it's negative, so you can see that it looks like black image with the text lighting up as a lighter color. So I can go here and not contrast, backlight maybe, nope, I'm just failing horribly. Reverse display, here we go. So you can change it to positive or negative. I like negative, even though it's harder to see with the backlight off. Anywho, that's that. You have your battery indicator, your play mode indicator, whether it's playing or pausing, your elapsed time. I'll just play something. And you have your track information and all that stuff, and your bit rate. Now, one thing to know is some of these were capable. They released a couple other versions after this that had MP3 support. This unit itself only plays ATRAC, unfortunately, but it was possible to send this in to Sony, and they would actually modify the board itself, because if you open this up, even though it has a USB connector, I'm pretty sure the firmware is stored probably on some either flash or ROM chip on there that's not externally bootloadable accessible, which means that they would have had to open this up to reflash the newer firmware. So you could have done that back in the day. I think it costs like $20 or $30 or something like that, and you'd send this into them and they would upgrade it to be MP3 compatible. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. So yeah, a little late on that bus. Anywho, it's a very interesting player. Battery life's like 30 hours or something. Even this is an old unit and the battery life is still pretty good. So anyway, enough jibber jabbering. Let's get the light on and let's tear this guy open. So 2 screws on either side here. Just need a very small screwdriver. This is why I keep a magnet on the side of my screwdriver. It both magnetizes the tip and I can keep some screws on there. There we go. So next you should be able to just pull, if you can get your fingernail or credit card or something slim, you can carefully pull this bottom bezel away. But keep in mind that the LCD and the buttons, there's a ribbon connector that connects those two, so you have to be very careful. Don't pull all the way out. Now I've already tried, I have a old adapter for an iPod that will let you put a compact flash card instead of the 1.8-inch IDE hard drive. It's a padded drive, but unfortunately it doesn't work. It doesn't recognize, I don't know if it's something software related. I tried cloning the original drive, putting it on, still doesn't recognize it. So unfortunately that looks like a bust. But you can see here, it's sliding out. Let's just turn off the battery. Should have done that first. Okay, battery's off. Now I can lift this up, take out the control. And you can see literally it's just a single ribbon connector. And it's too dark to see inside there, but basically this is a polycarbonate bezel that is mounted with adhesive, probably, because I don't see any clips, onto the magnesium frame, but you can kind of guess that the membrane for that is on top of there, and it just feeds through the metal to the other side. So if you want to replace the buttons, you'd have to peel off this plastic frame there. So here's the actual player itself. You can see the electroluminescent little tabs there. The same backlight that's used in the Game Boy Light, by the way. Basically, there's a high voltage inverter circuit in there to generate the high voltage to power that. You have the LCD. Nice attention to detail, some shielding on the headphone jack. You have your battery here, and then you have just a sheet of Mylar or something to protect against the metal. And you have your hard drive here. This guy is a 20 gigabyte MK 2004 GAL. GAL referring to the fact that it's a single platter. They do have versions, I think they're HAL or something. They use a different letter identifier. That means that they have double platters. So this case is only thick enough to accept a single platter. So if you wanted to upgrade, you would have to get, if you want to upgrade, say, to a 30 or a 40 gigabyte drive, there are single platter versions. They're kind of hard to find now and expensive. But anywho, I figured you can remove this drive. There's a rubber compliant gasket for shock protection. You can actually kind of get underneath that and pry. I would start prying from this end here because a ribbon cable, you don't want to damage that. But yeah, you can easily pry that out. It's a pain to get out. It's a pain to get in. So I found there's a repair manual I found for this, and they said that you should be able to slide this, and I can wiggle the bottom bezel here, and so that's definitely possible, but I can't for the life of me remove it entirely like they say in the repair manual, and I don't want to risk damaging this. So I managed to be able to remove the drive without actually removing that, because normally you're supposed to slide this off and then you can freely access this drive. But didn't work in my case, so oh well. Yeah, there's a little ribbon connector to a tiny little daughter board that connects the main unit to the hard drive itself. There's really nothing to see under the drive, just the metal shielding, and I would have to tear this down considerably just to get the board out, but you can see already the board is just this portion here. The rest is just the battery and then the hard drive, so it's tiny. It's just literally, 2 inches by 2 inches, something like that, maybe a little larger than that, but yeah, absolutely minuscule. Yeah, there's really not much to say. you know, there's a lot packed in. It's barely bigger than the drive itself, which is pretty small. I just thought that was. And I just got a text. But anyway, I have 9 or 10 minutes left, so let's just quickly put this back together. Yeah, so I wanted to talk to you guys, I guess, while I'm doing this, about something I want to try out. So I'm nearing the completion of my degree, and I'll be defending soon. So I will be, heading into the job market, and I don't know exactly what the foreseeable future will be like. So I wanted to try something a little bit different than I usually do. So I wanted to sign up with Patreon, and if anyone had any donations that they would like to provide, that would definitely help things out for the foreseeable future here. Because like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a stressful time for me the next few months. So yeah, I love providing you guys with content, but buying all this costs money and takes time, and I'm not going to have too much of that in the near future. So yeah, I want to try that. One important thing I forgot to mention is this little plastic bezel actually clips in with these two metal teeth. You have to keep it clear of this stupid plastic, because it has to actually clip in like that. And also, there we go. So, fits together. Before I screw it in, turn it on first. Still turns on. Beautiful. So anyway, that was just a very quick teardown of this guy. Pretty simple. Didn't want to go too much further into it because I'd likely destroy the thing. Thing's absolutely tiny inside, and but yeah, definitely an interesting MP3 player in the bygone days of the iPod era, where everyone was trying to compete with the iPod. Microsoft came out with the Zune. Sony had their network hard drive players. They had I think they had 2 generations after this. This is the NW-HD1. There's a 3 and then a 5, I believe, that came out. The 3 looked identical to this, was a little larger, and had a LED backlit screen. Came in different colors, looked a little bit different. I think this looks classier, actually. But then they came out with the 5, which was more of a candy bar style vertical player like the iPod. And that one looks completely different. I actually like this better. This looks a lot nicer, I think. But anyway, rambled on for long enough. I'll have more content for you guys later. I'm working on a couple new projects. I guess I could plug them to you now. I got a couple minutes left. So, I'm sure everyone's heard of the NES Mini, or the Mini NES Classic that Nintendo is coming out with. So I've decided to make this. I found a 3D print file on Thingiverse for a Raspberry Pi case for the that looks like an NES. And so I printed everything out, sanded it a little bit. Everything fits together pretty well, and you might be able to see there's a little Raspberry Pi Model A Plus in there. Features basically USB ports on the front, actual buttons that can push in and out. I just have them pushed in there, nothing back there yet. LED indicator, HDMI, power cord, all that stuff. So this is a small, tiny little replica of an NES that can play via emulation. NES, Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy original games. There are a whole host of emulators. You can even play N64 and PS1 games, but the A Plus model is a little bit wimpy on that. You might want to upgrade to Raspberry Pi 2 or 3 if you actually wanted to play PlayStation or N64 games. Anyway, this is basically my lame attempt at a classic NES, mini NES console sort of thing going on there. But it'll play a lot more than 30 games, so that was my idea. Stick a 32 gig card on here and carry practically multiple systems worth games, like full sets. So yeah, I just have to sand this down a bit. It's a little crusty and whatnot. But after I get that done, then spray paint her to make her the right colors, and she'll be golden. They sell USB NES controllers, so I can buy 2 of them for pretty cheap, and there you go, 2-player games. right there. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. So yeah, I'll be posting some more videos probably shortly. I have some more stuff I brought to tear down with me. And yeah, so if you guys like the videos, like, comment, subscribe. I'll be posting a link to Patreon, down below somewhere there, if you guys are interested in making some donations or anything. So yeah, as always, I will see you guys next time. Bye.